طيب الحمد لله رب العالمين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين وتابعيهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, this second session or second part of our three-part session today, the 24th of Rabi' al-Thani 1438, matching the 22nd of January 2017, and we are doing the abridgment of the book Zaad al-Maad by Imam Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah. I start by mentioning that from the last time we did the guidance of the Prophet ﷺ regarding as-sujud, the prostration, and towards the end there was a printing mistake in the book that I have, comparing it to the original. أمر بالاجتهاد في الدعاء والسجود. It says وأمر بالاجتهاد في الدعاء في السجود. Rasulullah ﷺ commanded that we should put in effort, strive hard to make dua in the sujud, وقال إنه قمن أن يستجاب لكم, that it is likely, very much deserving that Allah will respond to you. He will answer your dua. Inshallah, the translation last time it was okay. I'm just highlighting this. Maybe someone has the same copy and has that printing mistake. Instead of wa, it should be fi, right? Next is Hadiyu sallallahu alaihi wasallam fi tashahhud, the guidance of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam regarding tashahhud. Tashahhud is the sitting where you are saying at-tahiyyat. Imam Ibn al-Qayyim said, what means ثم يرفع رأسه مكبرا غير رافع يديه. Then he raises up his head saying the takbir, saying Allahu Akbar, not raising up his two hands. ثم يجلس مفترشا يفترش اليسرى ويجلس عليها وينصب اليمنى. He said, now he has done the sujood, he's sitting now for the tashahhud. He said, he sits muftarishan, and then he explains this word muftarishan. It's a sitting, a way to sit. He says, يفترش اليسرى ويجلس عليها. He places his left leg under and he sits on it. He uses it as a firash. Firash is like a bedding, a carpet. So he puts it under him and he sits on it. ويجلس عليها وينصب اليمنى. So the left leg is on the floor and he is sitting on it, while the right one is erect on the floor. Erect. Right? ينصب اليمنى. ويضع يديه على فخذيه. He places his two hands on his thighs. ويجعل حد مرفقيه على فخذيه. وطرف يده على ركبته. He places the edge, the end of his elbows on his thighs, and طرف يده, the edge of his hand, on his knee. ويقبض ثنتين من أصابعه ويحلق حلقة. And he grips, he folds two of his fingers and he forms a circle. He will explain it later on, but from now I say the two that he folds, the small one and the one next to it, the pinky and the one next to it, like that, and he forms a circle with the middle and the thumb, like that, right? So he folds the two and he forms a circle with the middle and the thumb, and now the index is pointing, Right? طيب. He will talk about that again explicitly. But now he says he folds 2 fingers and he makes a circle. ثم يرفع إصبعه يدعو بها ويحركها. Then he raises up his finger. He makes dua with it and he moves it. Right? And he moves it. ثم يقول, then he says, اللهم اغفر لي وارحمني واجبرني واهدني وارزقني. Oh Allah, forgive me and have mercy on me and mend me and guide me and provide for me. هكذا ذكره ابن عباس عنه. This is how Ibn Abbas mentioned it from him, right? And there is weakness in this narration from Ibn Abbas. وذكر حذيفة عنه أنه كان يقول رب اغفر لي. And Hudhayfa mentioned from him that he used to say, Oh my Lord, forgive me. Oh my Lord, forgive me. ثم ينهض على صدور قدميه وركبتيه. Then he gets up on his feet and his knees. صدور قدميه, the bottom, the sole of his feet and his knees. معتمدا على فخذيه, depending on his thighs. فإذا نهض افتتح القراءة ولم يسكت. If he gets up, he starts with the recitation and he wouldn't be quiet. He wouldn't have a silence, a moment of silence or time for silence. كما يسكت عند الاستفتاح, like he used to be silent at the time of starting the prayer. He makes the dua of inaugural dua, right? ثم يصلي الثانية كالأولى. Then he prays the second rak'ah, that is, second unit, like the first, except for 4 things. السكوت, silence. He does not have that time of silence to read the dua افتتاح. He does not have that silence. And he does not have dua al-istiftah, the opening dua. وتكبيرة الإحرام, he doesn't do another تكبيرة الإحرام. And وتطويلها, and making it long. The second rak'ah is not as long as the first rak'ah. Now the title here is guidance in the tashahud, but this will come. It still didn't come. Remember that this is an abridgment, right? Yani it's summarizing what's in the original. So he started, but then last time we did the sujood and we finished from the sujood. Now he's saying, yani you sit this dua now, Allahumma ghfirli warhamni wajburni wahdini warzuqni, and Rabbi ghfirli, هذا دعاء بين السجدتين, right? This is the dua you do between the 2 prostrations, right? And although here in the footnote, that one, he says it has weakness in it, but inshallah has supporting routes to make it strong. Allahumma ghfirli warhamni wajburni wahdini warzuqni, right? هذا تقوله بين السجدتين. لما تجلس تسجد سجود سبحان ربي الأعلى سبحان ربي الأعلى سبحان ربي الأعلى, then the du'as that we learned some of them last time. Then you sit, right? You sit, ربي اغفر لي ربي اغفر لي ربي اغفر لي. What if the imam takes long? Repeat, ربي اغفر لي ربي اغفر لي ربي اغفر لي. And even you can even make other du'as if you wish, right? But if you stick to this one, or Allahumma ghfirli warhamni wajburni wahdini warzuqni, that is good. Up until the Imam says Allahu Akbar again for the second prostration, then you go again with him, right? In the second prostration. So this is now that piece after the first sajda. You sit and you do the dhikr, then you prostrate again. Now you get up. He said he stands up on the soles of his feet, right? And his two knees. The word sudur, you learned it yesterday. Sadr. The plural, sudur. So you have sadr and you have dhahr, the foot. Right? You have sadr and you have dhahr. Right? Dhahr is the top and sadr is the inside, the soul. That's what he means here. So you get up on the suduri qadamay, on his soles, and he said warukbatay, and mu'tamidan ala fakhidayh, depending with his two hands on his thighs. And we mentioned that this is the choice of Al-Imam Ibn al-Qayyim. We mentioned last time that this is the choice of Al-Imam Ibn al-Qayyim. And we mentioned that the scholars differed about this. How to go down to sujood and how to get up. According to Imam Ibn al-Qayyim, when you go down, the knees go first on the floor. The knees go first. Then the hands. Then the forehead. When you get up, you raise the head first. Then the hands. Then the knees up. And you put your two hands on your thighs, depending on them, and you get up. This is what Al-Imam Ibn al-Qayyim chose. I know that many of us, or most of us, maybe not going for this one, right? They go down on their hands, and when they get up depending on their hands. Many of us, the book by Sheikh Al-Albani is widespread between us, so that's what we do, right? And this is an old issue, and not new. And I mentioned last time that those issues, there is a number of them like that. Going on the hands, and depending on the hands and getting up, this is the madhab of Imam Malik. And one position in the madhab of Imam Ahmad. As for Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Shafi'i, just like Imam Ibn al-Qayyim mentioned. And he himself mentioned the difference between the scholars in that. Even the companions, same. From the time of the companions to this time, still, that issue is there. The scholars differ, and someone chooses this and someone chooses that. In our time, the Shaykh Al-Albani, you know his positions like Imam Malik. And Shaykh bin Baz, Shaykh Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, they are like the Hanafi and the Shafi'i way, right? And like Imam Ibn al-Qayyim, right? And each group, they fight for their, right? Fight to prove their position, right? So, if you are able to study it and you get to a conclusion, or if you learned a certain way and you're sufficed with that, you cannot go through the details of this, then alhamdulillah, you go with what you have. And last time I even showed you one position, right, by some scholars who, you can't say on your hands or your knees, actually in between, right? In between, right? It's an interesting discussion. And I mentioned to you that within the same madhab, you find this. Like madhab Imam Ahmad, you have two positions, right? I mentioned to you last time, Imam Al-Tahawi is a well-known scholar from the Hanafi madhab. In his book called Mukhtasar Tahawi, he chose the same as like Imam Ibn al-Qayyim. You go on the knees, you get up on the knees, right? And in another work of his called Sharh Ma'ani al-Athar, this is a big book, he is mentioning the other position. and mentioning that you can get up on, I don't have that book, but they quoted him saying this, that you get up on your hands which don't have knees, unlike the camel. He gets up on his knees which are in his hands. Right? So you are a human, you get up on your hands which don't have knees. Right? But, this issue is again give and take, and it's an interesting topic. And there are those scholars who said, those narrations on this side, they are weak. Those narrations on this side, they are weak. Right? Yani place your hands before your knees, or place your knees before your hands. Amongst them the Sheikh Muqbil, rahimahullah, one of the main students of Sheikh Al-Albani. Both narrations to him, they are not authentic. Right? He does not fully agree with his Sheikh on that. This is how knowledge is. You cannot have the people. Some of us get angry or get agitated. Why is it one thing and that's it? If that is the case, you wish that this is easy like that, right? But they want to know what is correct and that's it. They don't want to have discussions, right? That's okay, but then if you want to do that, you have to, learn. And once you get into the steps of knowledge, you understand that this is not the way to knowledge. You have to have more, open mind, right, to accepting different positions. And once you see how they are talking, you understand that all of them are trying to reach the truth and the good conclusion, but then different routes, and some of them are right, some of them are wrong, right? So this is the case. This is the case. So that's that there. He said he prays the second rak'ah like the first rak'ah, except you do not pause, you do not make dua iftitah again, and you do not do takbiratul ihram again. You have the takbirah of getting up, but you don't do another takbiratul ihram. And the second rak'ah is not as long as the first, right? So the second rak'ah differs from the second rak'ah differs from the first, that it is a little shorter. So if you are praying, don't recite like a short surah in the first rak'ah, then a long one in the second rak'ah. This is reversing it, right? The first rak'ah is longer than the second rak'ah, right? Not the opposite, right? Sometimes if it happens, it's all right, but then it shouldn't be the habit, right? It shouldn't be the habit. طيب. He goes on to say, فَإِذَا جَلَسَ لِلتَّشَهُّدِ. Now if he sits to perform the tashahhud, وَضَعَ يَدَهُ الْيُسْرَى عَلَى فَخِذِهِ الْأَيْسَرِ. He places his left hand on his left thigh. وَيَدَهُ الْيُمْنَى عَلى فَخِذِهِ الْأَيْمَنِ. And his right hand on his right thigh. وَأَشَارَ بِالسَّبَّابَةِ. He would point with his index. وَكَانَ لَا يَنصِبُهَا نَصْبًا وَلَا يُقِيمُهَا. He wouldn't make it erect and he wouldn't raise it up, right? بل يحنيها شيئا يسيرا. يحنيها أو يحنيها. حنى يحني أحنى يحني, right? He tilts it a little bit, right? So it's not like this, it's not like this a little bit, tilted down a little bit, right? That's the position of Ibn al-Qayyim, rahimahullah. There is a hadith, and this, they differ and they discuss the authenticity of that hadith. He said, وَيُحَرِّكُهَا, right? So he points and he moves it, right? He points with it and he moves it. Now this narration of moving it, a big discussion on its authenticity, right? Although the one who narrated that is someone who is trustworthy narrator. But the same narration narrated by the other people who are trustworthy also. It's only him, all of them, they said he points. Only this narrator, his name is Zaida. Zaida. His name is Zaida. Zaida ibn Qudama. Right? Zaida. Zaida means like extra, additional. That's the word, yani, what it means. Right? Plus. Right? So, he is the one who narrated it. He differed from the other narrators. So some scholars, they judged that this word, يحركها, he moves it, they judged it to be not authentic. Because this narrator, although he is trustworthy, he is narrating the same thing as other narrators who are trustworthy. Nobody mentioned moving it except him. Right? And this shows you the people of hadith and how in Islam, yani, the scholars are so meticulous and fine and so exacting, yani, right? Because they say he's a trustworthy. You know, imagine this now. We have three of us, mashallah, the three of us are trustworthy, inshallah. We are narrating from our Sheikh Muhammad Basawat, Hafidhahullah, right? Two of you, we are narrating from him. It's the same narration now. We heard it from him, all of us. But the two of you, right, narrate it less one word. And I narrate it with extra word. And that extra word could mean more, right? Like point and move. He used to point with it, or he used to move it, right? So this يحركها, he moves it, could mean more than just pointing, right? Is this addition now? I added just this word. We are narrating from the same sheikh. Some of the scholars, they said, no, this additional word is not found in the other narrator. Especially now, other narrators are not 2 or 3, maybe 7 or 8. Only one narrator, he said this word. So they said, no, this addition is not accepted. And some of them, they put it yani, very nicely. Yani, because the narrator, his name is Zaida. So they said, Zaidatun min Zaida. It's extra from Zaida. Additional from additional, if you want. Right? If we use the name, we don't have like this name in English. Right? So it's extra from him. Right? The others, they said, no, this is an addition from a trustworthy narrator, so we must accept it. Yani maybe the 2 or the 3 or the 6, they are narrating from him, but he is a strong memorizer and he narrated it. They missed it, he said it. So it should be accepted. And there are those, and this is the position of the Sheikh Al-Albani rahimahullah. He said this is authentic, the moving. Because, he said, pointing does not conflict with moving. If you point to someone, telling him to come to you, what do you say?
Yeah.
You go like that, right?
That's right.
Am I pointing or moving? Pointing and moving. Pointing and moving. There is no contradiction between pointing and moving. So this narrator is not saying something that goes against what the others are saying. You could point and move at the same time. I'm pointing and I'm moving. Right? So this is the choice he took, and many of us are familiar to this. And this is the position of the scholars, the Hanbali and the Maliki, right? It shows the moving, right, with details, of course. And the Hanafis and the Shafi'is, they chose the pointing and not moving, right? Although all of them, they talk about moving and they differ with details. That's why I said details. Some of them, they said when you mention the name of Allah or when you say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. That's why they point, and when it comes to Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, they raise, they move, right? So in essence, everybody agreed on the moving and the pointing, right? It's just that when it happens, right? And this is again one of those issues where they should not be an issue of fighting and who wins and the war, you know. He's moving beside us and they mention about someone who, you know, like, why is he moving beside me? Like, got his finger and, you know, twisted it and broke it, right? So it should not be an issue of fighting like that, especially when you have, in essence, most of them, they are agreeing on this. You either point and move, or point only, or move all the way with pointing, right? So this is the case, right? So according to the position that we are used to, it is making dua, يحركها يدعو بها. He's moving it, pointing and moving, and making dua, right? And the way to do it is like this, not like this. Although there are some scholars who say this, but this is رفع وخفض, this one. Up, down, right? This is raising and lowering. It should be pointing and moving, like this. Like this. Pointing and moving, right? And there are others who you see they're doing like this. Right? This has no basis, yeah. Is no basis, but there are some, in some of the madhabs they have that, right? They go like this, right? But there is nothing to back it up. Allah knows best. This one, there is nothing to back it up. So either you point like this all the way, or you point and move. Point and move, right? طيب. And according to the choice that Ibn al-Qayyim chose, يعني your finger is a little bit tilted, you know, tilted. It's not straight, right? It's not up, not like this, but it's like that, tilted a little bit down, and then you are moving and pointing. طيب. ويحركها. He said, ويقبض الخنصر والبنصر ويحلق الوسطى مع الإبهام. Here now he is mentioning the detail. He says, he يقبض الخنصر والبنصر. These two, he will fold them, right? ويحلق الوسطى والإبهام. He makes a circle with the middle and the thumb, right? Like this. And now you're moving and pointing like this. That's one he mentions. The other one, which is authentic also, is to fold all of them. Fold all of them like that, and move, right? Like this. Now, if you remember before, he was talking between the two prostrations, and he was talking about moving, even between the two prostrations. This sitting and like this and moving, this is now in the tashahhud we're talking. But before he was talking even between the two prostrations. And he chose that, and some scholars did choose that, but Allah knows best. According to some of the scholars of hadith, it's an odd narration. There is no folding and moving the finger between the two prostrations. Although you might see some doing that, because some scholars chose this. Amongst them is Ibn al-Qayyim, amongst them is Shaykh al-Uthaymeen too, right? Rahimahumullah. So, but Allah knows best, yani what's common is there is no moving of the finger in between the two prostrations. When you sit, you just sit with your hands on your thighs, and that's it, right? This is now in between, when you sit for the tashahhud. He said, وَيُحَلِّقُ الْوُسْطَى. He makes a circle with the middle and the thumb. وَيَرْفَعُ السِّبَّابَ يَدْعُو بِهَا. He raises the index finger, making dua with it. وَيَرْمِي بَصَرَهُ إِلَيْهَا. And he looks at it with his eyesight. When you are sitting, doing the tashahhud, moving your finger and pointing, you look at your finger. That's where you look then. That's where you look. You look at it. وَيَرْمِي بَصَرَهُ إِلَيْهَا. ويبسط الكف اليسرى على الفخذ اليسرى. The left hand now is on the left, and it's not folded. The left is not folded. Only the right. The right. You have the two folded and two with circle and like this pointing, or all of them are folded and you are moving. The left always is like that on the left thigh, right? It's not folded. It's not folded. It's spread on the left thigh. He said, وَيَتَحَامَلُ عَلَيْهَا, and he leans on it. He leans on the left. He leans on the left. Right? طيب. We should stop here, inshallah. So we will have some time for our third book, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.